Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely decode the architecture behind a compelling narrative. Whether you're reading an absolute masterpiece or, hey, trying to write one yourself, every single story you love has this hidden framework holding the whole thing together. It's almost like a giant puzzle. And today, we're going to make that invisible structure totally visible.
So here's our roadmap for This Explainer. First, we'll look at the blueprint of storytelling, and then walk step by step through Stage 1, the orientation, Stage 2, the complication, Stage 3, rising action, Stage 4, the climax, and finally Stage 5, the resolution.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the blueprint of storytelling, demystifying the narrative skeleton.
So basically, every great short story relies on this exact structural blueprint. Seriously, it really doesn't matter if you're writing a semi-fictional piece about your wild time at summer camp or some completely crazy imagined superhero adventure. They all share the exact same bones. And this blueprint breaks down into 5 sequential stages: orientation, complication, rising action, climax, and resolution. To really see how these gears turn together, we're going to explore each stage by breaking down a specific sample story called The Birth of Shadow Swift.
All right, moving calmly right into our first stage. Stage 1, the orientation, setting the scene.
The orientation is where you introduce your main character, ground us in the setting, and establish that initial situation. Oh, and it might also drop a little hint about the problem to come. Look, your primary goal here is super practical. You just need to quickly establish the who, where, and when for your reader, and do it as engagingly as possible. Now, what's really interesting is how perfectly this opening quote from our sample story actually executes the orientation. Just listen to this. Alexander Smith was running, sprinting through the darkening city. He was already being chased by bullies at night. Right out of the gate, boom, we get our who, Alexander Smith. We get our where and when, a darkening city, at night. And we get that initial situation hinting at the problem, right? He's a kid being chased by bullies. It's active, it's super clear, and we are immediately grounded in the narrative.
Okay, let's pick up the pace a bit as we head into Section 3. Stage 2, the complication. Introducing the conflict.
This stage introduces the main hurdle your character has to face. And here is the absolutely crucial point. Without a complication, there is literally no story. There's no journey. A character just having a nice, normal, boring day, that's not a narrative. That's just a journal entry. The complication is the spark that actually lights the fire.
Take this moment from our story. Stumbling into a dark alleyway, Alexander collapsed. He was lost and being chased by people he barely knew. Notice that show, don't tell method in action here. The author doesn't just flat out say Alexander was scared. Nope, we actually see how the complication traps him. He collapses in this dark, unfamiliar alleyway. He's physically lost. The stakes instantly raised.
Moving right along, Stage 3, rising action, building the tension.
During the rising action, your conflict really develops. The character faces obstacles, tension increases, and events move rapidly towards the climax. Think of this stage as the literal engine of the story. It's throwing hurdles at your protagonist. It's forcing them to react. It's designed to steadily increase the heart rate of the reader.
Just feel the urgency in this quote. Voices around the corner were moving closer. Alexander pressed himself into the shadows against the wall. You can totally feel it, right? The bullies are getting closer. Alexander is desperately trying to hide. This perfectly escalates that rising action. He is completely out of options, literally backed up against a wall. How could his situation become any worse? Wow. That's an actual internal thought pulled right from Alexander in the story. And it acts as this incredible hook. It intentionally grabs you by the collar right before the narrative hits its absolute peak.
And that brings us to 5. Stage 4, the climax, the turning point.
This is it, the climax. The most exciting, important, or tense moment in the whole story. It's almost always the turning point. Every single thing we've talked about so far, the alleyway, the running, the hiding, it has all been leading exactly to this single explosive moment of change. The conflict has to be faced head-on.
And here is the ultimate payoff. The bullies were standing directly in front of him, staring at what appeared to be an empty wall. His hand was pitch black. No way! What an incredible turning point. Alexander discovers he isn't just hiding, he's invisible. His hand has actually merged with the shadows. The entire direction of the narrative flips completely upside down in this one thrilling instant.
All right, let's take a deep breath as we enter Section 6, Stage 5, the resolution, tying up loose ends.
This final stage shows exactly how the dust settles. It solves the core problem and ties up those main loose ends. It often includes a final reflection or a major change in the character. You know, a really good resolution is vital because it actually rewards the reader. It clearly shows the consequences of that massive climax we just experienced. We need to see what the character has learned and how their world has shifted.
Listen to this powerful ending. Embracing the darkness within him, he sped into the night with only one thought in mind. I am Shadow Swift. I mean, that just finalizes Alexander's transformation perfectly. It beautifully resolves that earlier conflict, being a frightened victim of bullying, by giving him a brand new, super confident identity. He isn't running in fear anymore. He's speeding into the night with a purpose.
Now, a quick aside, a skeleton needs muscle and skin to actually come alive, right? And in writing, that comes from descriptive language. Just consider the difference here. A basic sentence says, he had bad luck. Okay, kind of flat, kind of boring. But the figurative language actually used in our source story says, trouble seemed to be attracted to him like a magnet. That sensory-rich simile paints such a vivid picture in your mind, it completely elevates the basic structure into actual art.
So, if you're tuning into this explainer to prepare for a time-limited narrative writing test, here are some immediate, practical takeaways for you. Hook your reader immediately with action or mystery. Quickly plan out your 5 stages before you write a single word. Keep the plot intensely focused. Seriously, don't add too many characters. Show the character's feelings through actions and sensory details. And always make sure you leave time to end with a clear, complete resolution.
Well, there you have it. We've totally demystified the blueprint. You've seen exactly how orientation, complication, rising action, climax, and resolution can take a character from a frightened kid in an alleyway to a powerful hero named Shadow Swift. The architecture is yours now. The only question left is, you have the 5 stages. What story will you tell next?